Today, we are going to focus on a very interesting and trending topic: overcoming disengagement in change with a holistic approach to accountability, autonomy, and ground level empowerment. We are very thrilled to welcome Jennifer Bryk, with over 25 years of experience in leading transformations across 9 industries. Welcome to the show, Jennifer. Do you mind giving us an introduction about yourself and telling the audience a bit more about yourself as well?
Sure. So I founded Rebel Edge Consulting, where we help companies scale and grow by harnessing the power of a human first approach. And this really came to fruition after completing over 250 different change initiatives and noticing that really the degree to which humans adopt that change is critical. And so I set out exploring different things like mindset and psychological safety, and realized that kind of jumping into projects and designing that change and executing the strategy, we were missing that critical component, which was really understanding the humans, how they see themselves, and how they interpret that impact. And that's the foundation to Rebel Edge Consulting.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's great to have you with us today, and excited to get into this topic today and discuss a few aspects on this as well. I'm going to head into the first question for today. How can organizations identify early signs of disengagement during transformation process, and what steps can be taken to address these signs proactively?
Yeah, so disengagement shows up in multiple forms, but it's basically a change in behavior. So you want to look at both how people show up, their verbal, the way they're talking may change, or the nonverbal signals they're giving. So in an environment where a lot of us went remote, people constantly showing up with their cameras off where maybe they didn't previously, that would be a really strong indicator that something might be going on. Or let's say you have employees that used to always be that first one to volunteer, were very engaged in meetings, and now you kind of notice they're stepping back a little bit more, that buyers maybe gone out. Those are all signs of early indicators of disengagement that you want to intervene and start to explore a little more.
Makes absolute sense. Jennifer, once you've identified these signs, what can you do to address these signs proactively once you pick that up?
Sure. So we work with our clients to really adopt a coaching mindset as a leader. And so it's less about adhering to that typical employee leader role and more about really getting to understand that employee. How do they view their role at work? How do they see their degree to which they can be successful in that role? How do they perceive any sort of projects or changes? And this could be changes to title, leadership, org changes, or maybe their role is even changed slightly. You want to create a safe space for them to talk about those things and really explore, so you can understand the story that they're telling themselves about their role, and intervene early and help reframe that story if it's starting to head down a path. For instance, let's say they're not the subject matter expert on leading that project for change. They may feel like their voice isn't able to be heard and brought forward. And so, you understanding that early on, you can look for an opportunity to overcome that, versus waiting till the project goes live and they've continued to disengage, feeling they didn't have a seat at the table.
Absolutely, that makes sense. So basically, the earlier you identify and act on that, the better. What
Absolutely.
role does a holistic approach play in balancing the interests of the company, shareholders, employees, and customers during significant organizational change?
Yeah. So we've all heard of fixed mindset and growth mindset. With generative AI coming forward, there's a newer mindset that's trending, which is an infinite mindset. And that is really brought on by generative AI is kind of like your co-pilot. So you don't necessarily need to have all the skills and experience. You can tap into Gen AI to kind of supplement that for you. So, for instance, in launching Rebel Edge Consulting, I don't have a background in marketing and copywriting, but I was able to leverage generative AI to bring forward that skill set for me so that I could move forward with launching the company. That is the ability that all employees have today. And so being able to tap into a broader aspect and look at change holistically and think about what is best for customer, what's best for company, what's best for employee, and best for shareholder allows us to come forward with changes that more holistically balance the needs of all for greatest good of all. And that's really that infinite mindset, is thinking beyond just yourself and going for a broader subset like those four categories.
Jennifer, the next question is quite interesting, and it's been quite a common theme in some of the episodes that we've had before. I would really love to hear your insight on this. How can leaders foster accountability and autonomy at all levels of the organization, and why are these elements crucial for successful change management?
Absolutely. So it's about the amount of control somebody perceives they have over achieving a successful outcome. And so within all levels of leadership, there should be a definition of what does success look like in that role. I think we've all seen over time how projects have had to go several levels up for approval, and every level you go up to need change approved, that is diminishing your level of control. So as a leader, being able to work with your employees and understand the problems and pain points that they're feeling on that front line, and bring down the amount of layers of approval that are needed to actually solve that problem, is a great way to bring control and really bring forward that change adoption. Also, when projects are coming forward or any sort of change ideas, if the top levels of the organization can focus more on defining what a successful outcome is, and then leaving more the how that gets accomplished within the organization, that also increases empowerment in employees and helps them really feel like they've got control over their outcomes.
Makes sense. I think some of your answer answered the next question. However, I'm just going to raise the question if you think of anything else that you might want to share with the audience. Ground level frustration is often a significant barrier to successful transformation. What strategies can be used to empower employees and reduce frustration during periods of change?
So, a really powerful one that I love to use is the start, stop, and continue. And so, by bringing forward that, you're asking for individuals to bring forward ideas around things that should be started, things that should be looked at to discontinue, and then things that are going well that they want to see continue. So, having that become part of your one on ones, your team meetings, and any other interactions, including outside of the department, really fosters that challenging the status quo and brings forward ideas about change. As people are feeling heard, whether it's the people that report to you, your peer set, or the leaders above, that is what really creates that psychological safety. And not all things can be acted on, but just by being able to understand and explore what is the art of the possible is crucial.
That's amazing, Jennifer. I think that insight shared is going to be extremely valuable to the audience, especially where you mentioned about bringing that into the one-on-one, etc. I think that's something everyone doesn't always think about that, but doing things like that can definitely assist in removing those barriers. Really loved that answer. How can organizations ensure that their change initiatives are not only top down, but also supported and driven by those on the front lines?
So that really ties to looking at the levels of involvement that the top has versus the bottom. You want to have the decision and design around the change closest to the person who's going to most feel that impact. So if you're changing a system, and let's say it's your frontline customer service team that's going to be impacted, their voice should influence that design a lot more than someone who is several levels up and isn't ever going to interact with that system. Several levels up should absolutely talk about what does success look like if there are customer service or experience metrics that they're looking to change, or certain cost components or certain quality or risk management scores. Those absolutely should be brought forward and talked about, including where things are at today, the benchmark, and where they want them to go. But as far as closing that gap and how you bring that forward, that should be more heavily influenced by the people that have to perform that role and be part of that impact from here on out.
Makes absolute sense. Jennifer, in your experience across the 9 industries and the 250 transformation initiatives that you have worked on, what are some effective ways to align the goals of different stakeholders to minimize resistance and maximize engagement during change?
Yeah, it's all about creating a shared knowledge and accountability set. So I often found taking the different teams and pulling them into a workshop was the best way to create that shared knowledge and accountability. Oftentimes, you get going in your day to day life within each department, and it leads to kind of that siloed mindset, but being able to step out of that day to day life and also have those conversations again in a safe space, a workshop, you start to see light bulbs go on across the different departments, especially as you're exploring the pain points from department to department. They start to realize, hey, when I've done this, this is the result in this other department. And you can foster those conversations around how do you do things differently or understand that impact more, which just creates that goodwill and shared understanding and really helps that change move forward positively.
Can you share an example of a transformation where focus on accountability, autonomy, and empowerment helped to overcome disengagement and lead to successful outcomes? So, if you have any real life example throughout your career and throughout the transformation initiatives you've worked on, if you could share that with the audience, that would be amazing.
Yes. So I was asked to step into an interim leadership role to lead a transformation over a department that had project management, business transformation, and capital planning. The reason that I was asked to step in is that the executive leadership team had lost faith in the reporting that was coming out of the department. A lot of projects were over budget, behind schedule, kind of the typical things you see in transformation or project failures. And so the thing that I did was really sit down with each employee one on one and got to know them and employed that start, stop, continue question. I also met with all the critical stakeholders that were business owners and the IT sponsors of all of the project portfolio to understand what their start, stop, continue was for the projects, and then did the same thing with the C suite. I consolidated all of that information and then pulled together the leaders of the departments and shared that information. And then we began to brainstorm at a high level, reimagining what we wanted the process to look like end to end. And we would put in there problems that were identified, not yet solved, ideas that we had, etc. But the key thing was it was a brainstorm. And then I had each leader volunteer to lead one of those pillars. They went back, worked with the team, worked cross departmental, and came forward and presented a brand new strategy, brand new process flows, metrics. And as we began implementing them, because we followed an agile approach, so that meant every week we were delivering some sort of benefit from taking that agile approach and really empowering that front line. Within about 45 days, we had all of the stakeholders giving positive feedback and had restored faith in the C suite for that function. And then we continued that momentum from there.
That is extremely amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer, because I honestly think, there are people in the audience listening to this who are facing similar struggles at the moment, similar hurdles, and the insight you've shared is amazing and will definitely help them facing this hurdle as well. Thank you, Jennifer, for your insights shared on this crucial topic. Is there anything you would like to share with the audience as a final message relating to this topic? Anything comes to mind, or any advice that you want to give to the audience today?
Yeah, I would say look at your role, especially if you're a leader or a lead on a team, as helping to empower and lift others up. So even if somebody doesn't report to you or another department, you want to seek out and let them have those safe space conversations and see how you can help them move things forward. It might be a matter of giving some additional data points because maybe they're looking at a certain situation from more of a fixed mindset and they might be kind of stuck in place, and giving them some opportunities or different things to explore to help them move forward creates that goodwill and really creates that positive energy in the whole company and team.
That's amazing. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you for making the time to share your insights with us today and with the audience. To our viewers, thank you for joining us today. We'd like to remind you to stay connected with BPM Real Talk. We have many more exciting episodes coming up, each with its own unique perspective and inspiring stories to share. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us and stay updated with our latest episodes and join our growing community of BPM enthusiasts. Thank you for being part of this incredible journey. Once again, Jennifer, thank you for your time. Thank you for your insights shared, and we look forward to chatting to you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.